Very good evening, folks. Just welcome to a bit of a random Thursday night stream. I saw the Supercoach Team picker was out, and I'm like, why do we do this to ourselves? But I thought we'd have a bit of a look and see, who's on the list and who we can sort of build a team with, especially what Tiger players and what prices they're at as well. And of course, answer any Richmond questions or talk footy with everybody just on bit of a balmy and hot Thursday night. Grok, how are you, mate? What's going on? Yeah, where'd my little chat window go? I lost it. I popped it out and then it went away. There he is. Dave, what's going on, mate? Hope you're doing well. Has anyone else had a chance to look at the Supercoach team pick yet? Has anyone already picked a side for themselves? I might do a cheeky filter for Richmond players first and foremost. What do we got here? Nick Vloster now most expensive defender, 482,000. Not sure many people will take Nick Vloster this year. I don't even think I would. Just don't know when he's going to start playing would be my only concern. Grok, finish for the year. Hey, giddy up. Very good, very good. That's what you want to hear. Yeah, Gibcus will be... Well, where's he? Oh, wow, 139,000. Absolutely, Gibcus would be a lock. Yeah, that's a huge lock. I didn't realise he was that far down. Jaden Short, second highest price, 456. Yeah. Sam Banks, 438. Sam Banks was I had him last year in might have been our draft comp potentially. He did okay. I'm sure he would have made some money last year. I'm not sure if his scoring will be enough to make money this year. He'd be a bit of a tricky one. Even Miller, 380 for Miller seems... What's interesting with Miller, if he starts like biting off these dangerous kicks and being part of the rebound game, maybe that's not a bad pick. Like maybe he'll get the ball a bit more because he's going to do the intercepting stuff. We know he's still going to do all that. Maybe he starts to hit a few more targets and get a bit more dangerous. That could be interesting. Brody, I think most people will pass on. Tom Brown's an interesting one. Only averaged 64 for 2025. He's one that I reckon we need to see up the ground more. I know he's in as a defender, but I'd love to see him playing on the wing. And we want him to get the ball 20, 25 times a game. If he does that, he could be scoring 90s and 100s. But you'd probably want to see it happen in reality first before taking a bit of a punt. Now Bolter, defense 4, dual position, interesting. We'll no doubt do some backup ruck work as well. That's right, Grok. Yeah. Gibcus hasn't played enough games to warrant being too high in price. Exactly right. Luke Trainer, 285,000. Yeah, he's a tough one, Luke Trainer. Ballarat, welcome. Luke Trainer, I'm not sure if he'll ever be a big Supercoach scorer. He's going to be a really good player, like in real life. I don't know whether that'll be one that translates to Supercoach numbers. Campbell Gray, well, we don't know how many games he'll play. Caleb Smith, same thing. Sam Grill, I reckon that Grill will play at some point in the year, but maybe not someone I would start with. But yeah, Josh Gibcus, I mean, if I was building a team, he would be absolutely locked into my starting lineup because that price, realistically, he should get up to $300,000, $400,000 when it's all said and done, I reckon. I think he'll be a really good pickup in Supercoach. We like all things being equal, he's playing round one and won't not be in the side. So I think he would be a pretty good pick. Midfield. Okay, so Taranto, Hopper, Prestia are our 3 highest price mids. Yeah, okay, interesting. Prestia, I guess most will probably stay away from. I mean, Taranto averages not so bad, but there's probably going to be other players there from other clubs that at a similar price point. Jack Ross, I actually bought Jack Ross in last year on the back of one of his really good games. Then he had a bit of a stinker for the next 2 weeks, so that burnt me badly. Hugo Ralsmith on a wing. Yeah, maybe not. Kay McAuliffe. He's an interesting one. Averages 81, And this sort of comes back to the point we make about that he was getting 18 to 20 touches off 69% game time. So if he can play 75 to 80%, he might get 25, 30 touches a game, and that could look like a 90 to 100. So he'd be one to keep an eye out for, potentially, at a $353,000 price tag. Trezise, 286. Tyler Sonzi, 272. Gee, the prices drop quickly, don't they? Sam Cumming, I'm assuming he'll play some games this year as well. Again, not sure how early. Patrick Rechko, I still think he's a lock for round one. I know there's probably a couple out there that don't agree with that, but all signs point towards him playing round one, I think, anyway. And he could be, you're right, Grok, he could be a good bench player. We'll leave him there to start with. Just to make a bit of cash, I reckon. Josh Smiley. Smiley could be a bargain if he's to play round one. Well, let's talk about Smiley. He's still not back training fully. He'll be back training fully in February. And the club's website has said that he is at 197 centimeters now, which is just crazy to think that he's shot up that high. I don't think there's too many midfielders at 197. What's Connor Nash? He might be one of the only ones. Is he maybe even taller? Is he 198, Connor Nash? I'm not sure. Dan Curtin, I think, is Dan Curtin 196? Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see Josh Smiley at 197. Maybe some of the continual growing is what's causing some of the issues along the journey, potentially. It could be a contributing factor. He's tall and jacked, 2 centimeters shorter than Nank. Like, just try and wrap your head around, folks. We're asking Josh Smiley at 2 centimeters shorter than Nank to run midfield like kilometers. It's mind blowing. I think he'll get there too. Like, I think he'll end up doing it and getting there. So Connor Nash is okay. So Nash is 198. So he's probably there in a class all on his own. He's a really nice build as well, Connor Nash. Obviously doesn't have the full football pedigree like other players do, but I think he's made a really good fist of what he's got. And yeah, if Smiley can sort of go along that line in terms of the hardest and the aggression, but Smiley's obviously got a better skill set, then we're going to be laughing. It's quite extraordinary, but hopefully we can see him out there for round one. Zane Piker, I don't think we'll see. Well, we might see him at some point this year, but I don't think he'd be enough to warrant a selection just yet. And same with Roberts Thompson. A ruck. Nankervis. He's usually pretty good for 100 most weeks, isn't he, Nank? Yeah, it depends on, I mean, he's been a good choice in a lot of draft leagues, I reckon. I'm not sure if people would go with him in a normal Supercoach league. Samson Ryan, reports were he was the best big man on the field in the final training session of the year. So make of that what you will. I know it's only training and it doesn't count for everything, but it counts for something. And I don't think anyone would ever pick him for Supercoach purposes, but strictly from a Richmond perspective, geez, it'd be nice if he pieced together 2026 and it all kind of clicked for him and he could give Nank a genuine chop out. That would be really good. And it was just interesting that it was his work around the ground, his skill work, his marking and everything that is what people were saying was elite. It had nothing to do with the ruck side of things because they weren't doing ball up stoppages. But the ruck side of things, like, has never really been the issue. He's always been a pretty good tap ruckman. It's always been the other bits and pieces around the ground. So maybe there is still some hope. I know. I might have just got my years wrong, Grok. I might have just gone a year too early. Maybe 2026 is the year for him. Forwards, we've got Jack Ross's dual position. Seth Campbell's, that's not bad at 356,000. Noah Bolter, dual position. Ryan Mantle, 315,000. Tom Lynch, 304. Sam Lawler, I don't mind that for 298,600. I think with the minutes he'll spend in the midfield as well, you'd like to think that he will grow in money for us. I reckon we'll see him. You reckon he'll be like a $450,000 player by the end of the year, if not more, surely. Sonzi, Tash Houghton, that's not a bad one again. 267,900. Just, I guess, from a Richmond perspective and what we all kind of think and know of him and where he's going to play a bit of football this year. Yeah, he could be one that does get some midfield minutes as well. His break even will be interesting because that sort of dictates, I guess, how the money will rise and fall. Morris Jr., 266,000. Steely Green, 220. Jonty Fall, 216. Tom Sims. Yeah, key forwards are cheap, aren't they? Key forwards are just so bad in this game. Like, the forwards in general, it's such a hard one to get right if you go with the big men. You're better off going with your smaller hybrid ones who play midfield. But there they are, dirt cheap. Jasper Alga, 119,000. Flex player, so that's everyone. So they're all the Tiger players anyway, which is interesting. What does it look like in total though? So Nasiah is the most expensive defender, and a few of the guys at work are St Kilda supporters, and they were saying that in a match sim yesterday or the day before that Nasiah was playing midfield, and apparently just obliterated everybody and just pushed himself to absolute exhaustion and then some. So they, I think a lot of people are going to have Nasiah in their team, so I'll probably be one of them. It just seems like it's guaranteed points, but this is why this mode can be a little bit frustrating because every team you play against is going to have Nasiah, so you're automatically cancelling each other out for one player. That's why the draft is sometimes a good way to go. But maybe we'll have a look. Maybe, how can I filter this? Yeah, let's maybe have a look at some of the younger players. Campbell Gray, no good. Travalia, you'd think he'd get some game time. See, Gideon Coleman's another one. Obviously some risk attached to Gideon Coleman coming off the injuries, but he's going to slot straight back into Brisbane's backline, you would think. Dill, how are you, mate? What's going on? Yeah, you would think that he would slot straight back into the Brisbane defensive lineup. And 233,000 could be a bit of a bargain price, so maybe he's one to consider. Colin Jasny, Billy Wilson, Caleb Smith. Jed Buslinger was one that had a bit of noise about him. Nick Caulfield was doing okay until he busted his shoulder. Zeke Euland. With how good Gold Coast are going to be, or already are and will continue to be, does Zeke Euland get into the side straight away? I don't know. I mean, you would think he will. How much of a role does he play? Charlie Ballard will slot straight back into the Gold Coast backline. So there's a couple there who exits though, I suppose. But they could be some players to pick up to generate some cash early as well. You would think that Euland's going to play if you were to have to pick. Yeah, not doing the gaming streaming anymore. Unfortunately, Dill. It's just the game streams or gaming in general. It just sort of started to feel like a chore, and that's always been a bit of a trigger point for me. That if something feels like it's a chore and not something that I'm genuinely enjoying, then it's not worth continuing with because I'm probably going to half-ass it, and it's not fair for anyone else watching. And it's probably more to do with that I'm not great at any games. Like, I'm okay at a lot of games, but not very good at many. So it was probably harder to stay in one game and really grind it out. I probably didn't have the time on my hands to play as often as I needed to as well. So you've just been doing the Tiger Cast stuff. I thought we'd take a look at some Supercoach shit tonight, though. But hopefully you've been keeping well, Dill. Harry Dean. Will Harry Dean get a gig early, do you reckon? He'll get a game, but he won't score well, will he? As a key defender. Tom Duday, and he's another one similar to Gideon Coleman. I'm not sure what his injury status is, but he'd be another one I'd keep an eye on as a cheap defender to get in, who could then potentially get some cash. Sam Grew, we spoke about. Dersma, Newen. Jacob Farrow, one of the new crop from this year. There's been some really, really good reports on him. I can definitely see him playing some games for Essendon early. And I don't necessarily know whether it would be as a defender, though. I know he's got defender there because he did play defence for WA. But I could see him, getting some game time. Xavier Taylor's probably a chance to get some game time too. And not necessarily as a key defender either. He could be one that does bob up on the wing. Bo Allen, I'm not sure if he slots back in or not. Gibcus we spoke about. Josh Lindsay may get some game time early as well. Especially in a younger, inexperienced side like West Coast, you can definitely see a world where that happens. Who else we got? It's hard. A lot of these players I don't know a lot about at this stage as well. Mraz, Oliver, Dry Sarong, Matt Whitlock, Will Darcy, Avery Thomas. That was an interesting pick from Gold Coast, wasn't it? I don't know whether he'll step in and play straight away or whether he's going to be someone they sort of build up. But he was interesting. How will Port go this season? I think there'll be, like there is with a lot of new coaches, there'll be some initial teething issues. Could you, I don't know, do Port have enough talent on their list to maybe challenge for the wild card spot? Possibly, if they can win all their home games. But I think that there's just always a bit of a teething issue with new game plan, new game style, and all that kind of stuff to unfold. How do you think the power will go? But look at some of the cheaper midfielders. Wow, Revel's that cheap. It's interesting. Travagli's there as well. Nankervis, Scholl, Sardis, Will Dersma. So you reckon, Will Dersma, we would think is going to play games early. So he'll probably be one that a lot of people will select, I reckon. Henry Housewaite, the man of the trade period. Sam Butler, he had a pretty good end to the year. Even some of his finals games weren't half bad either. Potentially someone on the bench, maybe who might grow some coin, possibly. Sam Cumming and Sam Grill. Roby, we're probably going to have to steer away from for the moment, just because of the back injury. But Dyson Sharp, I think Dyson Sharp, Grok, to your point, I think you mentioned him earlier. Yeah, Dyson Sharp, I think will be a lock for most people. He seems to be doing really, really well at Essendon's training. I do have this feeling he's going to maybe be that player that people talk about in a few years' time as to, well, why didn't he go higher when he was always touted higher but slipped through so many picks? I guess it just comes down to what type of player some of those clubs needed at that moment in time. But I think he will have an impact straight away. And yeah, he should be a lock for pretty much everyone's super coach, if nothing else, but to make some money on him. Jai Murray, will be an interesting one. Sid Draper, interesting that Sid Draper, he was pick number 4 last year, I think. Yeah, maybe is he going to crack into Adelaide's side and stay in? I'm not sure, but I really liked what I saw of him in his under 18s year, but it maybe just didn't translate fully to AFL just yet. Will Brodie. So even Will Brodie's interesting. And Dylan, while you're here, maybe give us your thoughts on Port Adelaide Will Brodie. So my thing is with Brodie, even though the trade to get him was very much a token gesture, like it was a late pick, a pointless pick, the way I sort of see it, similar to our Rechko trade, you don't make that trade to play that person in your reserves. To me, it just doesn't make sense. You make that trade because you plan on using them in your senior side, is how I would usually feel about those trades. So I feel like Will Brodie will get senior midfield time at Port. I guess the big question is how much impact does he have, and does he get scores big enough to warrant selection to try and flip some cash? Who else we got here? Rechko we've got. Smiley we're not sure about. Jagger Smith you would have to take, I reckon. He's going to be a gun, that kid. Obviously, it was devastating for him to do his knee early on in pre-season last year, but he's looking pretty good at the moment, and I know Carlton supporters are very up and about with him, which is fair enough. So I think he'll be a very, very good player this year. Cameron Nance, Sam Allen, Harley Barker. Would any of these guys play? Yeah, don't know if any of these other guys will play. Matt LeRae, maybe. Jovan Filippo might. Sam Spodling could be a sneaky one to get some game time as well. Sounds like Leon Kickett's doing some good things in Fremantle too. I'm sure there's a few other good young kids as well. Young rucks are always difficult. I mean, rucks in general, even if I remove the price filter. So Max Gawn's still the most expensive ruck. So Tristan Xerri still can't pip him. Jesus. So out of interest, for those who play Supercoach, does the new ruck rule change your philosophy at all on who you would put as your ruckman? I mean, you still can't help but feel that Tristan Xerri and Gawn, in particular, are going to still get big scores each week. Brody Grundy's, another year older. I'm actually surprised he's the third highest ruckman in terms of price. You would expect Tim English to have another good year. Who else will help? So De Koning, that's a bit of... I had him last year, went really well. Obviously, him playing in a new side is going to be interesting too. But yeah, does the new ruck rule change things? Sam Draper for Brisbane. Moyle Soldo. Nick Bryan could be a good backup one. I've always had a lot of luck with Tristan Xerri, so if I was looking to lock in a side, I would probably go Tristan Xerri and who would I go as a secondary player? Liam Reedy. Oh, we'll go Grok. Yeah, Grok in the ruck. I'd probably consider Nick. Is Nick Bryan injured or is he playing? Yeah, Reedy's probably the best R3 option. It's always such a hard spot, isn't it? Stay away from Meat now. Gawn's too expensive. I know. He's expensive, but shit, he puts out some good numbers, doesn't he? Like, puts out some consistent good numbers, which can be hard to find. If we can get Samson Ryan up and about. Yeah, none of these other ones. I can't see anyone else doing anything down there. This is the most interesting one for me. Harry Sheezel, a mid forward. Where has this come from? Did I miss something last year? He was a midfield / halfback last year, which made complete sense because he did spend quite a bit of time off the half-back line as well. To the best of my memory, I don't really recall Harry Sheezel spending a lot of time up forward. Am I wrong? Did he actually spend time up forward that I've just completely missed? I just don't recall seeing him forward. I just feel this is a really bizarre positional change for him. But as a forward, you're absolutely picking him as a forward every day of the week. It just seems odd. It's almost like they've shifted another mid down there to try and give the forward line some more depth because there's not usually a lot of options. Yeah, that's a bit bizarre. Rankin, I think, is always a good go as well. Again, dual position. I don't know whether my theory was right last year or not, but for the forward line, I often would try to find as many dual position players. Not all of them, but the key forwards are too tricky. So I found that it was always like your Caleb Daniels, your Rankins, players who could go between the midfield as well. So I've not minded Rankin usually. Petrarca, another one who's mid forward. I don't know whether this team will even be locked in at all, but that's a good, if you can have Petrarca on your forward line, that's a good get, I reckon. Is Luke Jackson really playing as a mid now? Is that right? Widescreen. That's a scary prospect just in general, isn't it? Wow. Pitnet could be a chance as ruck. Yeah, you would think that Pitnet's going to get quite a bit of game time in the ruck for sure. For sure. Yeah, okay, interesting widescreen. I must have not watched that chunk of North games. Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to help a lot of people, I think. Sam Darcy. I know I just said the big men, the key forwards, typically don't work. He's probably the exception to the rule, I reckon. He is an absolute freak. At some point in the next 2 years, he could conceivably be the best player in the competition. So, I don't know whether I would I mean, I'll leave him there for now because I'm not necessarily, like I said, not necessarily locking the side in, but just good to have a player around. Nick Martin, he would have been a great option if had he not hurt himself again, which is obviously a terrible story. Phil Thorpe, just the whole Adelaide forward line is bloody dangerous. They're three talls. Jesus, they're going to be good again this year. Treloar, Flounders as forward options. Did Sheasel play? I mean, to be fair, Grok, Sheasel played wherever he wanted to because he had about 55 touches. I'm not sure we could necessarily pin down one position. He just ran rampant. Keziah Pickett's another interesting option for a midfield forward. I'd like to know a bit more about how his pre-season's gone and what he's been doing training-wise, if he's doing some more mid-work or not, before you would make that sort of selection. Jack Graham, Zach Bailey, I really like him. He's one as a Richmond supporter that I would love for us to go after in free agency. I'm sure it would cost a fair bit of coin. I think he would fit in really nicely, but yeah, he's always not a bad type. Jai Simpkin I used a little bit last year, probably more so in, I think I had him in our draft league at a late-ish pick. He wasn't too bad. See, like Harry Mackay, we'll look at Harry Mackay in isolation. He might have games where he gets 120, 130, but then he might have a stint of 4 or 5 games where he gets about 60 or 70. That's not just him, that's a lot of key forwards. It's really difficult to pick him. Gunston, you can't imagine him having another year like last year. Ben Keys probably plays a bit higher up the ground, but Bailey Humphrey's not a bad one, mid-forward. Are there any question marks over him trying to leave? I think he might have come out yesterday or today saying that there's no friction or bad blood and everything's all okay. So that's interesting. Bailey Humphrey, he'd be another one to consider. Chuck him in. Shea Bolton I had last year. I feel that Shea's too inconsistent, and we know that from his Richmond days as well. Yeah, that's it, Washington. It is a little bit of timing, isn't it? If you've got the trades and you've got the timing to do it, if they're drawing some good opponents, it could be worth a cheeky shout. Grok thinks Isaac Heaney could be a point of difference. We'll play more midfield this year. Yeah. Where's he? Was he high up here? Have I gone past him? I might just go past him. He must be a midfielder. Or have I completely missed it? Phil Thorpe, Grime-wise. Yeah, okay. I think Isaac Heaney might be a pure midfielder now, Grok. I don't think he's dual positioned. Dangerfield, Norton, Ginnivan. See, Fraser wasn't bad either last year, just as a player, like taking Supercoach out of it. He's one that I think could go places too. He'd actually be another one I wouldn't mind us targeting. Paul Curtis, not a bad one. Jamie Elliott, Cam Rayner. Bit inconsistent, isn't he, Cam Rayner? Tim Kelly, Darcy Jones. He was good when he first came onto the scene. Sam Flanders, I think that's a really good call as a forward option, because if we're reading between the lines, he's gone to St Kilda to get midfield time. That was my interpretation of the move. I'm not sure if you all thought the same thing or not, but I definitely interpret it as he's going to get more midfield minutes than playing off the half forward or half back line. But I think he'll end up in a lot of teams, Sam Flanders. Mason Wood, Nick Larkey, Riley West. Sanders is a funny one too. Like, I've kind of felt like that Luke Beveridge has not used him to the best of his ability for a couple of years now, leaving him as sub and then not playing him and a whole raft of shit. So surely he's going to burst at some stage. Joe Richards, Charlie Curnow. That's relatively cheap for Charlie Curnow, isn't it? It's interesting. Zach Williams, I remember him being the flavour of the month. Murphy Reed had a really good first year. Can he back it up again? It's interesting, isn't it, that for all his dominance on field, it didn't always translate to good Supercoach scores, which is interesting. Draper is a ruck option. How's he training, though? How's he gone recovering from his injury? Shannon Neal, Bailey Fritsch, Darcy Burn-Jones. Sam Swakowski, Brody Myercheck. How will he go the Ds? It could be a sneaky look. Cadman, key forwards are tricky. Tom Papley's going to have inconsistency issues. So Seth Campbell, I can't see many non-Richmond people picking Seth Campbell. And I guess if Richmond people are picking Seth Campbell, it's because we think he's going to play higher up the ground and play more wing in midfield, which he might do. I don't know whether it will translate to scores though yet. It would be too hard to tell this early. Oh, wide forward options for the start of time have always been shit, haven't they? It's a tough gig to pick a forward line. That's why the Supercoach draft was so much more fun for me, because we only had to pick 2 forwards. It was a lot nicer. Oh, there you go. So Draper's back running in full training. He could be a good shout then, couldn't he? The Wizard, Francis Evans. It's Pommy's favourite man, Francis. Will Graham, Jake Waterman, Jake Melsham, Fogarty. See, like Bolter. Okay, if we look at Bolter for 62.5 last year. Now, I think, can you click on that? Can you actually, no, okay, so you can't do anything yet. I think you can safely assume and say that Bolter was not in the right space last year. I think as Richmond supporters, we can all comfortably agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see what he looks like this year. He's training really, really well, head in the game. I'm not at all suggesting he's going to play forward, but he might have a really good dominant year as a defender. He's always an awkward one for Supercoach, though. Again, consistency can be an issue from a scoring standpoint. And yeah, it can be tricky. A Tigercast draft league. Oh, I'm trying to think quickly, logistically, how the draft would work. As long as, yeah, we can look into it. As long as it didn't have to be a live draft, if it can be done over a week or whatever, so people have got time, we can probably look at doing that for sure. Any forwards had a role change to defence been mentioned? Not that I've paid attention to be honest. Darcy Wilson, so he's another one that in real life I wouldn't mind us going after. So I think he's out of contract at the end of 2026. I think, so when you think about the players St Kilda have brought in and how they've gone about it, someone like Darcy Wilson could be the type of player that you could shake loose, because I still think there's a lot of risk element to what St Kilda did with rubbing other players the wrong way who are already at the club and pissing them off. So he's got a lot of pace, Darcy Wilson. He would be one that I wouldn't mind asking the question of at the end of the year. So we'll see how that one plays out. Voss, everyone loves Patrick Voss. DeGoey, Oscar Allen, Ryan Mansell, Soldo, McCreary. See, Trelaw, that's not a bad shout at all. It's just whether his body holds up, though, isn't it? That's the $1 million question. Bobby Hill, Charlie Cameron, Kako, Buku Karmas, Nate Caddy, Kelsha Deer, Joe Shanahan. I mean, he's a key forward. I reckon he'll see some more game time as well. Zach Taylor, Guelphy, Reed, Vandermeer, Kai Lohman. Like, there's some plays there that are sort of close. They'll play okay in real life, but it just may not give you a good return Supercoach wise. Mason Cox, Steely Green, Droxman Jonty, Sims, Flynn Young. Yeah, interesting. Well, I've got no one to add there anyway, so I'm just kind of looking for the sake of looking. Harry Armstrong, Zane Dersma, Filippo. That's not a bad one. Mateus Filippo. That's interesting. For 168,000, surely he'll make money. Surely. Your other mate, Jesse Detoli. Grock, I remember that from last year. McKelty, Malcolm Roses, Lockie Doverston. Yeah, the Sid Draper call's not bad as well for a bench spot as a forward too. I don't mind that. Jasper Alga, my man. I'd almost have to put him in by default, I think. Got to show him some love. Liam Fawcett. Tell you what, Liam Fawcett, I feel like he could be a genuine shot to play early on in the season. From all reports, he's leading the way for a lot of the shit we're doing from a key forward perspective. And what's been interesting is that it's people talking about that it's not necessarily just his marking that's been good, but his ball use and everything as well has been really clean and top notch as well. So I'm pumped for the kid. I'm really glad he's putting his best foot forward to try and get a gig in round one. Yeah, he could be in line for it. Solari, Rosie, and Butters got to be a lock for the first 4 games. Good for them. Who have they got? Who have Port got? Yeah, it probably thins out a bit, doesn't it? I don't know, Dabo. I don't know. I reckon he's a genuine chance. Like, very much in the forefront of a lot of people's mind. And it won't be at the expense of it won't be at the expense of Jonty Fall or Tom Lynch. I think he'll be competing with Harry Armstrong for the last spot. And I reckon at the moment, the vibe I get from the club would be they would pick Fawcett if it was done tomorrow to play round 1 ahead of Harry Armstrong. Based on all the training so far, that's how I read the tea leaves. He's not roosting it from 70. No, that is a Jonty Fall special, kicking barrels from bloody 70 metres out. So Bailey Smith has lost his dual position. That's annoying because that was a really good loophole to have Bailey Smith as a forward. The Bond, the most expensive midfielder, Zach Butters, future Richmond player. I mean, yeah, naturally you obviously go a couple of those guys. Port have North Essendon. Oh, wow. West Coast Richmond Saints. Yeah, it's a pretty nice start for Port. I mean, if they haven't won at least 3 or 4 of those, they're in a world of hurt, aren't they? The Saints one will be tricky. Like, it's hard to tell what St Kilda are going to do this year, just with all the players they've got. Either it's going to work really well, or it's going to take a bit of time. Jordan Dawson. George Hewitt, he was a superstar for me in Supercoach draft. I took him with the absolute last pick of the draft, so somewhere in the in the hundreds. It was ridiculous. And he had a ripper year last year, Supercoach wise. He was really good. Finn Callahan, Ed Richards, I love watching him play. Max Holmes. So Isaac Heaney, there you go, Grok. Isaac Heaney is a pure mid, not dual position. Finn Callahan. I always pretended to put Finn Callahan in. Like I said, I'm not necessarily going to try and lock in a team. It's just to see what players are floating around. Tuke Miller, Zach Merritt. Caleb Sarong is usually a good shout too. Connor Ozee. Did the Ashcrofts go to a new level? Sam Walsh I've always felt has been on the higher price side, but not always giving maximum return for points. Yeah, Lockie Ash, he was a good one too. Lockie Ash was a ripper. That's right, that was your call. He was very good. Paddy Cripps, 528,000. Fiorini, Matt Kennedy, Horn Francis. So Horn Francis is just a midfielder. He's lost dual position. Saligo. It's like Will Day could be another one that scores good points as well. But again, there's just a couple of unknowns about his injuries, isn't there? And how he's going to come back from it all. Jared Berry, Elliot Yeo. See, Yeo, he's another one who has been notoriously a good scorer. But again, the last year and a half, 2 years, his body's let him down and he's just not the same player, is he? But it's like, do they still have a purple patch in him when they get back to that good form and score really well? Yeah, it's probably impossible to take a risk on. Will Daya fall for every year? I think it's fair enough though. Widescreen, like he's a gun player, isn't he? It's just his body that it's hard to try and guess what's going to happen there. So I don't blame you. Yeah, Clayton Oliver of the Giants will be tempting. Have I gone past his name yet? Oh, here he is. Sorry, 500,000 Clayton Oliver. He will be interesting because if he was having all this unrest and not a fun time at the D's, he's going to fit the Giants really well. It's going to complement him nicely, that chaotic ball movement style. I don't know. I'm sort of siding with you. I reckon I can see him winding the clock back a little bit. How old is he, though? Hayden Young. Did I see him up here? Caleb Sarong. Brayshaw. Oh, no, he's not there yet. Unless he's a defender. Is Luke Jackson still a ruck forward? Yeah, we'll have a look. Oh, oops, I'm on the right. No, Luke Jackson is just a ruck, which is a bit annoying because I liked that loophole too. Jordan Dawson's been one that I know a lot of people have picked over the years. Max Holmes. Max Holmes, there's another one. So he was defender / midfielder last year, now just midfielder. So Oliver, 28. Yeah, he can still pop off, couldn't he? Again, not that I'm necessarily locking this side in. Where did I see him? Well, it's 500,000, wasn't it? Young, is he really 360k? Yeah, that seems really low. Pendlebury. Where did we get to here? Dion Prestia. Peatling, Windhager. So Windhager was one that seems to have put in a big preseason as well. Shea Bolton, consistency. Bailey Williams, Ollie Dempsey. So he's lifted his output, but I don't know whether he's good for hundreds on a lot of weeks. Ned Long, Levi Ashcroft, Connor Nash, Warple. Wardlaw's, I love Wardlaw. Again, it's probably just getting the body right thing for him too. Dan Curtin. What about Massimo D'Ambrosio? Is everyone jumping on or off him again this year? I remember when he first went to the Hawks, everyone jumped on him and rightfully so and well played because he got some good coin. Yeah, Hayden Young. That's a really cheap price, isn't it? I wonder whether they got gun shy because he didn't have a good start to the year. I remember everyone was like, all the hype was on Hayden Young at the start of the year. Heaps of people picked him, and then he just shit the bed for the first few weeks. But I thought he came back well in the back half of the year. Did he have the hamstring issue during this year? Just gone? So you would have had, yeah, I know. The Luke Jackson one, that was a great loophole to have him as a forward or a ruck. That was a ripper. That was very good. Wardlaw is a beast. Wardlaw is very much I sort of see, and someone feel free to tell me if I'm wrong, I see a lot of George Wardlaw and Sam Cumming in like he's just a no-nonsense, no bullshit, just see ball, get ball type player. But I reckon that Cumming's got a bit more skill on him than what Wardlaw has. And hopefully his body holds up a bit better than George Wardlaw. But I really like him. I really like Wardlaw. Yeah, wing is a tough position. It is. Specialist wings aren't designed to get your big numbers in possession, are they? It's more about structure and holding the width of the ground and things like that, doing a lot of sort of team things. Draper's ruck forward. Hey, okay, interesting. Mason Wood, the man who plays his best games against Richmond every year. Harley Reid. What about Harley Reid, folks? What do we think about him? Has all the potential in the world. I just haven't quite seen it convert to good Supercoach numbers over the last couple of years. Granted, he's still very, very young. At some stage, he's going to go boom. Could it be in 2026? And the hard thing to try and guess with this is him booming as an individual, Supercoach-wise, may not necessarily correlate to West Coast booming. So it's kind of hard to try and separate the two. G'day, Damien. We're just going through. So Supercoach for 2026 has opened up the team picker for those who have got gold. So we're just having a look through and see what the players are looking like price-wise and position-wise and things like that. Talking just general footy, Richmond stuff, whatever we want. Jaeger O'Meara, Kane McKenzie, Hugo, Ralph Smith, Kane McAuliffe. Geez, I really would love Kane McAuliffe to have a big year for us. Really would. Yeah, Liam Reedy, 119,900. Yep, he is very cheap for a bench ruck spots. Who else we got here for a midfielder? I'm looking at Kidney Leo's average, 59.3, but yeah, that's relatively cheap, isn't it? Angus Clark. Finn O'Sullivan, 314,000. Interesting. Trezise. Xavier Lindsay. Tyler Sonzi. How interesting. For those of you who watched the interview with Adam Uze, were all of you as equally as shocked as I was at the time when Uze made mention that Tyler Sonzi was one of the experienced players really driving the standards early? that really shocked me in a good way. Um, yeah, it was. I didn't expect. I just didn't expect that to be him to be the player that was driving the standard. But it's 100% a good thing because the poor kid was on a nice edge, wondering if he was getting a contract for God knows how long. And it sounds like he's having an okay preseason. He's got the skills. If he gets the application part right, there still could be a chance that he makes something of it. It's all on him though. He will know. He will know now that what he's got to do to play AFL football. So yeah, fingers crossed he gets that right. Yeah, like if I knew, see, I knew I only had 10 or 15 minutes with him. If I didn't have the timer aspect, there was so many more questions I wanted to ask, even just on that alone. The Tyler Sonsie files. So it was good. It was actually honestly really good to hear for him. Yeah, Damien, the game's frustrating, not going to lie, but it's addictive. It's addictive. Dan Annable, Campriali. Yeah, there you go. Fuck, it's getting hot out here. Yeah, it's a good question. Happy just to talk some Tiger stuff now. I've got my Supercoach fix in. So happy just to talk some Richmond footy stuff if you all are happy to. Oh, why can't I? There we go. I'm just trying to get my chat box up. What are you keeping on edge was to fire him up a bit more. Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, yeah, maybe widescreen. I feel like that would have been a bit a cruel thing to do, though, was my initial gut feel. I do think it was just a genuine list decision, depending on what was going to play out in the draft and things like that. But I know I got criticised on Big Footy for being, I suppose, ultra positive by that, because I haven't really identified any players that maybe won't make it or won't play. Maybe I'm just batshit crazy, but I genuinely do think after the delistings of last year, I do think that every player on our list is capable of playing AFL football for Richmond. And I think it's important. It's important to know the difference between, yeah, there's a lot of them who wouldn't get a game at Brisbane, but we're not Brisbane. We're not in Brisbane's situation. We're not in their point of football life cycle. In our football life cycle, I really do think that everyone on our list right now could step into a role at AFL level at some point. Maybe with the exception of the new draftees from this year, because that can be a bit trickier. But if you look at Sonsie, who was one of the last ones to get signed, he's got AFL runs on the board. We know he can play at the level. Yeah, we'd like to see him do a bit more and play at a higher level, but we know he can come in and play a role. Samson Ryan, yeah, we want to see him do more. We know he can come in and play a role. Hayes Brown's probably maybe got a question mark, although I do think that he was very close to playing last year if injuries didn't happen. But another one who I think, if called upon because of circumstances with Nank, I think he could play a role. And I think it's a good spot to be in because, and I think that thought process translates to trying to pick a best 23 is bloody difficult. Again, I'm not sure how many of you have tried to do it in your spare time. It's fun. It's really hard to do when everyone's fully fit and readily available. So the competition for spots is going to be a good thing. Widescreen, not surprised that Uze singled him out again. Sonsie in the right scenario is best 23 easily. I 1,000% agree with you, and we might be in the minority, but I think that's okay. Like we said a lot last year, in a point in time where we were crying out for people who could kick the footy well and hit a target, he is one of those players. And yeah, there's some other little bits in his game that he has to tweak and improve. He went to work on those things and definitely got better at them, but we need to see it obviously again on a more consistent basis in 2026. It's been interesting to see training reports that he's been used as that link man between the two teams to be the ball user for both sides, coming out of the back line and things like that. I think that's a really good role for him. I don't know how that works and translates on field in game day situations, but yeah, as a good user of the ball, I don't mind the concept of it. It's how do you fit him in? that's always the question. It's how do you fit these players in? Um, it's going to be a nightmare. And that's why the two Pracky games will be good. The Essendon one. I mean, what do we all think? Do we think that the Essendon practice game, maybe we go in a bit younger than what we do for the official game against Melbourne? Maybe not as bad, not as bad. Maybe not as young as the West Coast game from last year. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is everyone under 24 plays in that first one against the Bombers. Who knows? But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what we do there. No other updates on the train on players outside of those training reports that we see from the guys on Punt Road and Big Footy. Who would everyone rather go with? Would you rather go with the big ruckman or go with the half-back midfielder in Burton? I feel we've already got a few players who do and can do what Burton does, but the big K, I reckon, just has that point of difference that if we're talking about this train-on player being worth to take a punt on, I think I'm taking a punt on the ruckman because if he does come on and grasp the game really well, and we end up with almost a CDT version, but we got him on a train-on spot, then we're laughing in 4 or 5 years' time. I think he's worth the punt. Yeah, and I think it's funny, isn't it, Grok? Because in that West Coast game last year when we played with all the youth, it looked like a complete dog's breakfast because they hadn't played much at all as individuals or as a team. But then this year, they've probably played a bit more together as a team and they've got more individual experience. So I'm not as fearful as playing an under-24 side against Essendon as I would have been last year. Not that the game means anything, but you still want to see a good outing. Yeah, maybe we roll the dice and just go all youth again. Have they announced where that game's at yet? I don't think they have, but it'd be nice to get to one of those. Burton safe bet. Kransky says Grok. Burton would be a safer bet, agree. But do we have it? He's a safer bet, but do you think that he's got enough tools and enough tricks to get ahead of other players we already have in that same position? That's probably the question we have to ask ourselves. I'm not sure the answer is yes. Others might think the answer is yes, and that's okay too. I know, Grok, some of those kids are looking huge. Like Caleb Smith's looking bigger, Steely Green, Kane McCall, Sam Lawler. Yeah, it's been impressive. It's been impressive. You're not sure on the Cat B one, Solari? That's a really good question. I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin with who we might put as a category B. We may not do anything in that space until something pops up that we like. But it is good to have that one up our sleeve. So Flanklin, we can only take one of Burton or the Big K. So we can only take one more. And that's because we've filled 38 primary list spots. Widescreen, I'd rather have a list spot open. Still think it's Holland for that spot or hold. Okay, so what happens in the Holland situation? He obviously is training with Carlton again. They opened their doors to him to try and turn him around, which if someone can get him right, it's going to be a good pick. And I don't know whether we spoke to him or not. I would have hoped that we did. But if we don't take Burton or the Big K, I don't know why a club would do it, but could you just take Hollands? I'm not sure. Grok, I think the list profile-wise, Kransky is probably more likely to play AFL games over Burton. Possibly. Not maybe in the next year or two, but maybe in 3 years. You just you're trying to project, aren't you? Like, if Kransky ends up being anywhere near like CDT and we've got him and Sims running around, it's a good combo. Zayden Lockwood would be a good chance. Yeah, possibly. He had a pretty good back half of the year, didn't he, Zayden Lockwood? We have Lord Rog. It's not a bad call. We have Smiley as an up-and-coming backup ruck. I tell you what, mate, we're getting bloody close, aren't we? I know there was a bit of a long-time gag on that because of his height, but it's actually getting to the point where it's now somewhat serious. As Grok mentioned before, he's 2 centimetres shorter than Nankervis now. It's going to be utterly fascinating to see what Smiley's like when he's up and running. If we get it right, and I think we will get it right, and I think he will get it right, it's going to be scary. Like, I don't know how many of you were at his first VFL game out at or I don't know if it was his first VFL game or it was just a VFL game out at Casey Fields. He was towering over their midfield, and he's a kid. Yeah, and you can definitely see the body shape transformation that he's had. Even throughout this new injury, you can still see he's a lot differently shaped. So I reckon they're well on top of it. But yeah, it's hard not to get excited about what he's going to be when he's a few years down the track. And Franklin, so to your point, yeah, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is correct. So Ollie Houghton obviously is playing with the VFL side. But yeah, a mid-season selection for us, I don't think can happen unless we get a season-ending injury. Someone let me know if they know otherwise, but I believe all spots are taken unless we do have a season-ending injury, is my understanding at the moment. Taller than Premiership ruckman Sean Griggs. I think he's done both. I think primarily skimmed down is what it looks like visually. When you compare Lawler and Smiley, Lawler clearly has put on a shite-load of muscle in the neck region in particular for some bizarre reason. But he's looking like a big unit, whereas Smiley, it looks like he's more slimmed down. Doesn't have that natural big bulking arms connected. That's interesting. Hopefully the stream is still on because OBS just said it disconnected. Yeah, so Josh Smiley was running really, really well, and it was more he was feeling issues when he was kicking, not when he was running. So yeah, that was very interesting. Rational best thing is that Lawler, Smiley, and Houghton are different to each other. Agree. They are all completely different, and I think they all complement each other as well. I'm looking forward to Tash Houghton in 2026. I know the Rising Star is a bit of a fluff award, but I do think he's a genuine chance to have a crack at that. Grocky slimmed down. Is in Smiley, done a lot of work on strengthening his hamstrings and core. He looks really good. Do we think that round 1 is still achievable for Josh Smiley? I mean, the club article suggested or hinted at that he's still eyeing off a round 1 game, whether it's at AFL or VFL level. What do you all think? It probably depends on how he comes back in Feb, I guess, but it's a tricky one because I don't want to be impatient either. But yeah, he could be a good one to integrate into the team in the near future. You'd play him round 1, Grok, with the extended bench spot? Fair enough. Why not? It will be interesting to see how we use that. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else could play there. Maybe, because the rotations haven't changed. Like, the rotation number's still the same. But, yeah, he's exciting. Does everyone else feel the buzz and the excitement around the preseason at the moment, or is it just me? I don't know. There's just this different feeling about preseason this time of year than what I've sort of felt in the last couple of years. Like, 2025 was very different for a lot of reasons. We had all of our experienced players. So it wasn't the same vibe and energy. Then last year, after all the draftees, it was exciting, but you also were mindful of that these are kids and they won't have too much influence. But then now, with another year under their belt, they've come back, they're hitting all their PBs, everyone's training the house down, for lack of a better phrase. Ball movements pinging around, it's all looking really good. It's just an exciting time, I think. Grok, you've got Grill playing round 1. Interesting. Rational Roman, reality is we will introduce 3 high first round picks in 26, Cumming, Grill and Smiley. It's a fair shout. It's a very exciting one too. Franco, Samson Ryan is very important in 2026. Agree. Everyone knows I was pretty bullish on him last year. And like I said before, maybe I got the year wrong. Maybe 2026 is the year that he puts it all together. I really hope. The success rate of the quad surgery, I don't know, Dave. I'd be completely guessing if I was to say one way or another. The club did report that it went really, really well, though, so that's probably as much as we can kind of go by. It did seem like it was on the very minor side, though, which is a good thing. Everyone's excited. Nuclears, I love it. Grill and Retchko are wingers. I don't disagree. Hugo will be in line for a wing spot. I think he will be up there as well. What's interesting with Retchko is he's been training as a halfback for at least the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now, it could be to learn the defensive side of the game, or maybe, and what I'm hoping personally, I'm kind of hoping that it's maybe gearing us up to have a bit more flexibility with Tom Brown. I think Tom Brown would be a great wingman with his skills, laser beam kicking, hitting up our forwards inside 50. We desperately need someone with that type of precision passing. Good mark, good size, good speed, aerobic capacity, maybe the unknown, but I mean, we've got to see if he's got it, I guess. But maybe he could rotate with Retchko. Retchko and Brown rotating between halfback and wing could be something we maybe look to do, which I would be all for, to be honest. I think we have some flexibility. But I'm all on board for Retchko playing round 1 as well. I think he will be there. Campbell Gray to be our best swingman. Yeah, it was interesting seeing the training reports that he was one of the best on. Where does he play, though? And who does he play instead of? That's probably more the question. Who does he play instead of? I don't know. It's not a loaded question. I just don't know the answer to it. Dave had a quad problem kicking on your last 50 games. It's annoying more than anything. Okay, that's interesting. Did it linger afterward? Dave, when you finished playing, did it still give you issues, or did it disappear and go away out of interest? Rational Roman, my excitement is that there is so much precarious talent at the club. No club has our young talent. Agree. We just have to be patient and fully supportive of Ooze and the coaching staff. Good call. I think I'm already seeing some lofty expectations from people and some thoughts about why aren't we already seeing X, Y, and Z when we're just not at that stage. And Uze even said in his interview with me that getting the game plan embedded and fully fledged, it can take another 2 or 3 years. Like, we're not going to see the final evolution of the game plan in 2026. And I think it's important for some people to understand that. Like, what they see on the field next year isn't the final version of the game plan, but they'll be up in arms about it. It's still a bit of a process. There's still a bit of a way to go, but it's a journey, and we're all going to run it together. Yeah, Franco, I'm excited to see what Fawcett does as well. Oh, Jonty for the Coleman. Jeez, I mean, look, we know he's not, but shit, it'd be good if he did. If we can get 25 to 30 goals out of Jonty, 25 and 30 out of Armstrong, and I still feel like there may be that could be very lofty expectations, but if we get something like that, we could be in a good spot. Okay, that's interesting, Dave. Yeah, I've got no depth on my kicking anymore on my right leg, but it's because of my left knee. So because I've got no ACL in the left leg anymore, I can't plant my leg and generate that power to kick on my right foot. So I'm actually better off, if I want to kick a long distance, I'm actually better off trying to kick it on my left with the bad ACL, but I can plant my right foot and put the power through it, which is weird. 30 goals from Crazy Legs too. Who's Crazy Legs? I've not heard that nickname, Lord Rock. Who's Crazy Legs? 110 out of Lynch, Fall, Armstrong, and Fawcett would take it 100%. You would have to say, oh, Seth, okay, fair enough. You would have to say that if we got 110 out of those key forwards, you would assume that Seth would be good for 15 to 20. Ryan Mantle's probably good for 15 or 20. Steely Green, let's call it 8 to 10. Morris Jr., let's call it, I don't know, let's call it 5 to 10, which I don't know what position he's going to play in. You'd love Jasper Alger to get 10 to 15. Sam Lawler, you reckon it'd be good for 15 to 20? If those type of, if we get 10 to 15% more efficient in the front half of our ground, we should win or be in a lot more games than what we were last year. Whether we convert them to wins is a different matter, of course, but we should definitely be a lot closer on the scoreboard. Our percentage should look better, and we should be in contest for a lot longer. Piker could surprise, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Piker play in the Essendon pre-season game. It'd be a good one. But no, pre-season's exciting. Pre-season's exciting. Oh, Houghton, thank you, Lord Rob. How can we forget Houghton? Jesus, that's an oversight. Goal a game. Not out of the realms at all. You know, and then we haven't even sort of spoken about what does it look like when a Tim Taranto or a Jacob Hopper rest forward? Do they end up with 15 goals each? Because we're putting more players to the midfield, they rest forward, they're experienced, they're crafty, they kick goals. Not out of the realms of possibility either. So we've got avenues. That's right, we've got players who can hit the scoreboard. We're just going to make sure we get it into their hands efficiently, which was a big letdown last year. Like I said, if we can improve our front half by 15%, we'll be laughing. And it's only a small amount, but I can't help but feel that Luke Bruce is going to have a massive, massive impact on our forward line this year. And I don't know, I feel like we're going to see something a little bit different. It just has a vibe to it. Could be completely wrong. Nuclear, I tell you what, if everyone's sort of fully fit, the VFL is going to be a cracking side. Yeah, they're going to be a ripper. Very good side to watch. Widescreen, do you think we should be going to the draft or free agents this year? Pretty sure the big fish available will all be matched, so we'll force trades. Will they? You might be right. So if we're talking big fish, free agency-wise, Zach Butters and Zach Bailey are probably the two main ones you would go for. I mean, I still think that we've got more money than Brisbane and Port Adelaide, so we could probably still outprice them, but there's obviously a limit with that too, right? You don't want to go too batshit crazy and then, yeah, and go over the top. So to your point, maybe we can't offer way high to the point where they can't match. If we could get either one of them, I think it depends on our season. If we show promise this season and show we're still heading in the right direction, we still could be an appealing prospect. I wouldn't care if we went to the draft again. It'd be nice to have a second first round pick though. I know we've got one, but you'd love to have another one to be able to get another young player because it's the last uncompromised draft. And look, Dave, to your point, yeah, if Butters was available, do we give up a 26 and 27 first rounder? I don't think you would hesitate with that. I guess the question is, if we bring in a Zach Bailey or a Zach Butters, how much do they fast track us? Will we have them for long enough for when we're maybe playing finals? Or are we hitting the draft this year? And then I don't know what free agents are available the following year, but we're going to have to do it sooner or later. Tigers to be the first ever wildcard winners. Hey, there we go. Don't mind it. Grok says 12 draftees in 2 years means we can skip over a draft to bring in a young, experienced player. I think that too. I wouldn't be against. I mean, look, it feels like we'll probably finish bottom 4 without. Yeah, like, I'm trying to be respectful, but that's just where we're at, right? Bottom 4 seems reality. Cody Walker, we probably can't get unless Carlton shit the bed points-wise. Dougie Cochran will be gone, but there'll still be some really good players at, 3 or 4. So I wouldn't be against picking a really highly talented kid again. But then I think from 2027 onwards, it would have to be adding in experienced players. But I won't be shocked if we try and do it this year too, or the end of next year, sorry. Yeah, Grok, Bailey, Zach Bailey, Lawler, Houghton incoming as midfield/forward would be insane. That would be good. That would be very good. Wildcard, get up the wildcard. I don't think it will happen, but imagine if we did pull off the miraculous and made the wild card in 2026. It would be utterly insane. I know a lot of people I've seen been writing about, the baby Bombers. Could we be the baby Tiger Cubs? Anything's possible, I suppose. But yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? That would be something. Uh, I think you still have to show promise, Franco. I'm not suggesting we have to win a shitload of games. It's not even about winning. It's just about showing game plan style evolution, um, the willingness to progress and learn. And we've obviously, like you said, we've got the facilities, the MCG, they're big draw cards too. I just think we still need to show promise on field. Doesn't mean we have to win 10 games or anything. We can still win 5 or 6 and still look like an appealing club. And I suppose we've got to remember too that sometimes that appealing prospects to another club could also be how stable we are, the coaching environment that we've got too. So there's definitely a lot of other things that play in our favour for sure. I just wouldn't want to have a backwards year performance-wise to hinder or to put doubt in a player's mind about picking us as a destination. I think if we have a promising year, even if it's only 6 or 7 wins, but we play really well, we're in games and we're pushing sides, I think it will help our chances significantly to land someone. And we've got access to Tanner Armstrong, exactly right. Hopefully he has a big year. Not too big, but a big year. If we have Butters in 27, we play finals, or Dave's called it. Dave's called it. I like it. What would Bailey cost? Yeah, I reckon Brisbane value him highly. I mean, you look at the grand final, he could have had 5 goals. What did he end up with? Did he end up with? He ended up with a few, didn't he? He had a good start. I like it, Nuclear. I like your confidence. It is all stable, Franco, agree, but I think it needs to translate to on field as well. Because the only reason why I'm saying that is you've got to remember a player like Butters and Zach Bailey, who might be 25, 26, they'll want to be going to a club that is on the horizon of playing finals. If we have a backwards year performance-wise, that would maybe indicate we're further away than what they think, which might turn them away from us. If we have a promising year, show some really good development, growth, and things like that, then yeah, maybe that he's like, oh, hang on, these guys might be playing finals a bit quicker than I thought, and I want to be a part. I want in. I want to be a part of it. So I just think it adds a bit more appeal. That's all. Yeah, we've got to have points of difference. Salary cap squeeze, and look, Lord Rog, that's a good shout too. That there could be a cap squeeze at Brisbane for sure. Hopefully. If Armstrong pushes into first round contention, I'd trade for Bailey and source points to match the bid. I guess it depends on where he lands in the draft because you can only use your next 2 picks. So you can't just collate bullshit points at the back end of the draft to get Armstrong. We'd have to make sure we got the pick in the relevant spot. So that's the tricky part. That's the tricky part. I don't know if he's a free agent, but Darcy Wilson from St Kilda would be one I wouldn't be against trying to trade for. Has some good wheels. Might be falling out of favour at St Kilda because of them bringing in a shitload of players on a heap of coin and not paying their own. So he would be another one. He would be one that you maybe ask the question of. Yeah, Butters will add about 3 or 4 wins. I agree. I think it's a fair enough call. Whoever gets him. Oscar Roberts, another NGA. He looks okay too. And there's still obviously Jack Lees and Archie Daffy as well, who have got as father-son options for next year. Hopefully they'll have big years too. So it's all looking relatively up for Richmond. It's going to be a good year. But that might be just about a wrap for tonight. No, so he's not a free agent, so we'd have to trade for him. But I reckon you could shake the tree. I think he's out of contract though. So I think we could maybe shake that St Kilda tree and try and get him out. If he's someone of interest. Let's see. But we might be doing a live on Monday. We need to do our Festivus show. I'm not sure if we've got grievances lined up, but we might do something on Monday night potentially. So Grok, I'm not. Are you available for Monday? I haven't. I don't think I've sent the message yet. But let us know if you're free. Alex, yeah, you've been big on Alex Dodson. Other than that, there'll be just a couple of videos trickling through. There might not be much content happening over the rest of December and New Year. There will be. There's still a lot of stuff happening in the background that I can't say just yet. It's a bit of a timing thing. But yeah, there'll be some exciting changes happening in 2026, so which will be kind of cool, which I'm very, very excited about. Oh, two $1 million players or one $2 million player? That's a good question. Because $1 million is almost getting towards being the average these days, isn't it? I would say the two 1 million. I don't know. That's a really tricky question. It's a good question. I'll say the $2 million players. But that's a brilliant question. I want to go to Ballarat Lord Rog. I did briefly look up accommodation. I might have to reinvestigate it because it would be cool to get down there. And I do want to get down to the Beaconsfield training session as well in January. So hopefully we can organise a bit of stuff in that space as well. But thank you for jumping on, folks, and for having a quick chat and for looking at some Supercoach stuff with me. Just something a bit different. I was a bit bored and I saw it opened up. I'm like, oh, let's jump online and have a look at Supercoach and talk some footy. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I don't know if it's going to be hot tomorrow or not, but if it is, stay cool. It's been, scorching the last few days. And yeah, keep an eye out for any other videos. If you haven't watched the Uze interview, make sure you go check that out and give it some love. It was really good to be able to get a hold of him. And again, I can't thank the club enough for that. There should hopefully be more of that stuff as well in 2026. So from the last meeting I had with them, there's about 2 or 3 other things in the pipeline that I'm hoping that they eventuate. One of them will be really, really cool. Another one was another chat with Uze, and there was a few other bits and pieces as well. So hopefully we get a bit more access like that in 2026, which has been unbelievable from the club so far. Have a good night, guys. Stay safe until the next one. Go Tigers.